Yogah Karmasu Kaushalam.
Hello and welcome to today's session. I am Dr. Anupama Chirag Dave, working as Associate Professor with School of Business and Law, Navrachna University, Vadodara. I am immensely thankful to UGC HRDC and Professor Dr. Jagdish Joshi for have given me an opportunity to share my learnings and experiences among you all learned colleagues. So as you can see on the screen, the title that I have selected to discuss is harnessing the power of digital tools for offline class participation. So if we look at this particular title, it can be actually divided into few parts. The first is that we being faculty members should use the power of digital technology that is available to us, but then we have to ensure that we are able to effectively bring them to our offline classrooms so as to improve class participation. So basically this entire topic that I'm going to discuss with you is going to talk about three essential aspects. One, offline classroom. Second, how to improve class participation by using various digital tools. So let us have a look at how the session is divided. So the session is broadly divided into three aspects. The first aspect I'll be taking up with you is to talk about the offline classroom planning that we need to do while we are trying to ensure or plug in few digital tools that I'll be discussing with you in the class in the session today. So the first is like how to plan for those offline classrooms for various teaching methods that we usually utilize in our day-to-day routine. The second aspect is going to be about selected digital tools. So for this session I have selected 6 digital platforms that I'll be talking to you about and its execution. So it is completely going to be a hands-on session wherein I'll be taking you through these digital tools and I'll be showing you some basic features that we should be knowing if we want to use them in our classroom. But then having said that, I'm just going to touch up the basic notions of each of those tools. It is on all of you, the faculty members, to go into these digital tools, deep dive into them to understand them better. So that is going to be the second, which is going to be hands-on. And then third, based on the experiences that I have had so far in the classroom of using these digital tools that I'm showing you today in the session, I have tried to create a matrix. So this matrix is like a conclusion which is trying to entail the concepts from part 1 and part 2, and I've tried to create a matrix which is going to showcase that for each of the teaching methods that we usually utilize in the classroom, which digital tools can be used by us. Having said that, I would like to bring to your notice that this proposed matrix is based on the experiences that I have had, but then this might change when the subject change, when the environment and the students change. So these matrices can be created by you for the method that you would plan to take up. So let us start with the first part, how to prepare for offline classrooms. So now when we are planning to plug in the digital tools into our offline classrooms, there are certain prerequisites that we need to be very thorough and clear with. The first is the number of hours that we are expected to be spending with our students. Now what I mean by this is, we as faculties are given some curriculum wherein we have been told that it is a 30 hours course or maybe a 45-hour course or maybe 15-hour course. So we should be knowing what is the credit and hour ratio, that is 1:15 or whatsoever the norms are. So we need to be knowing that how many hours are we going to spend with the student, because then that determines the number, the duration that we have with the syllabus, and accordingly digital tools can be plugged into the regular syllabus that we would be dealing with. The second is we would be given with the course outline, which consists of the syllabus that we are dealing with the students. For that particular state syllabus, it is mandatory to create session plan. Now what I mean by session plan is, like, if suppose I am having a subject which is titled as marketing management 1, or maybe principles of marketing, and I do know that I have to cover the syllabus in 45 hours. So then I need to create a planner wherein I'm going to talk about first day, this date, this is the topic, and even subtopics that I plan to cover, which is known as session plan. So that there has to be clarity for the next 45 hours that I'm going to deal with. So daily topic coverage, there has to be a clarity of that, because daily topic coverage would give us a detailed idea about what is the basic purpose with which we are going into the classroom, what are we aiming to cover, what are we talking to the students about. So there has to be a clarity of the daily topics that we are covering along with the purpose for that particular topic. And then based on this topic coverage and the purpose of that particular day, we can identify digital tools for which there is a lot of pre-preparation that would be needed at the end of a faculty. So it is not very simple to connect any digital tool into any of the classrooms. It is very much essential to understand what is the topic that we are going to cover, which digital tool is going to be more apt. We have to do pre-preparations for the digital tool, and then we have to go to the classrooms. So considering all these aspects in mind beforehand is very, very essential for any teacher who is dealing with a particular subject. Now once we are done with that, the next is talking about the teaching methods, because when we are talking about these session plan, for example, as I said that there are 45 hours which are going to deal with a particular subject. Obviously during this 45 hours I might be using one or the other teaching methods. Method could be like I am planning to go ahead with lecture method. So what I am assuming here for lecture method is like I am taking an oral session wherein I'm just verbally talking to my kids. I may be going to a classroom with a presentation in hand. I might be going into a classroom with a case study. I might be going to classroom, for example, subjects like which I teach, that's marketing. There is a lot of video that can be shared in the classroom. So I usually go to classroom with YouTube links of various advertisements, various social media campaigns being done by company. So we can go with video based teaching method. We might come across some online article which we may try to connect in our regular teaching. For example, the subject that I teach, that's business strategy, there are a lot of articles which are written on how good companies have been driving and planning their strategic actions. So such online article links we may be having to be discussed in the classroom. Sometimes for a few of the subjects we may even go ahead to plan some role play. It takes a lot of time, but then even role play is one of the method that is being usually adapted in the classroom. We may plan some games which might be at individual or team level, and we even plan some collaborative work wherein we ask students to get into group, we divide the task, and then ultimately go on to identify or maybe let them work, connect, talk, share, collaborate, and so on. So these are the regular methods that we usually adopt in our classroom to make our content more appealing to the students. Now this session is all about, with these teaching methods, which all digital platforms can be plugged in so as to make it more attractive and appealing, not only for our students but even for us as the content creators. So let us go on to our second objective, which is going to be complete hands-on, where I'm going to talk about the digital tools. So on the left hand side, the tools that you see, the logos that you see, they are the digital tools that I have identified for the session today. But before I talk about those tools, let me talk about why I am talking about these digital tools. So the benefit of using digital tool is, first, the sessions becomes more interactive, they become more interesting, wherein you are asking students to come up with some or the other thing. You would be able to increase the engagement level of your students. Now when you talk about any lecture which is a monologue, whereas faculty is teaching, speaking, the attention span is reduced to great extent. But by using such digital tool, you would be able to get more attention span of your students, because you can plug in these digital tools in between the syllabus or maybe the contents that you are delivering, so thereby increasing their attention span. It reduces monotonous monotony delivery that happens in the classroom engagement, because there is a lot of collaboration, because all the tools that I'm showing you, somewhere or the other students are also required to contribute into it, leading to a lot of collaborative activity, for which it becomes necessary for them to be attentive in the classroom. So now let us look at these logos. So the first yellow logo that you see is for Google Slides. So as the term suggests, Google Slide, and I guess that many of you would be aware of them. They are the that's a tool that can be used to create interesting and attractive presentation. So this presentation that you are seeing right now is created on Google Slide, and then how to do it, that is what I'll be showing you in the next phase. The second logo is for Canva actually is a tool that is a solution to anything that you want to design, and it's a very good free tool that is available. Again, in this presentation, last few slides have been made using Canva, and then I've plugged into the Google Slides, so I'll be showing them to you. Insert Learning is a tool which can be used to make online articles, web pages more interactive and interesting, wherein students also can go on to contribute their inputs, findings, contents, discussion, lot more can be done with Insert Learning. The yellow thing that you see again over here, it is the logo of Google Jamboard. So Jamboard is basically a tool that can be replaced with the blackboard work that we do in the classroom, and it can be accessed through our Gmail account and Google Drive. The center colorful logo is that of Mentimeter. Again, this is a tool that helps us create presentations, and these presentation, now what is the difference between Google Slide and Canva and Mentimeter is, in Mentimeter, with the free tool that is available, we can create interactive presentation slides, wherein presentations have been created by us. We can share the link with our students, and they would be able to answer to those questions on those slides, and you can project the realistic opinions of your students that have been given or shared by them on Mentimeter. The last is Classroom Screen. This is a very beautiful app, has lots and lots of feature, very much perfect for anything on the go. Even if you have not planned something and you want to make some groups, you want to collaborate, you want to give some timing, you want to make them do some activity, you want to play some games, so this is a tool which can be used by us. So these are the 6 devices, six different free tools that I'm going to run one by one for you. I'm going to show you the basic features associated with each of them, but then I would request all of you to get into these tools one by one, go into depth of these tools and try to implement them at your own end. Having said that, using all those tools in the syllabuses, all the syllabuses that you teach may not be possible. It's very impossible, because we are faculties dealing with multiple subjects. So what should be done is, we can go with one tool at a given point of time, or maybe 2 tools at a given point of time, and use it in different syllabus and go slow, but then by the end of certain duration we will be able to ensure that our syllabus has a lot of digital plugins among them. So let's start with our hands-on. Jamboard. So to start Jamboard, we have to click on this Google App Launcher. When we click on this, so we should start with our Gmail account, click on this Google App Launcher. When we scroll down, we get this option of Jamboard. We have to click on Jamboard. It is similar to a whiteboard or a green board that we have in a classroom. So this is how the Google Jamboard panel looks like. Now to have a new Jamboard, we have to click on this plus symbol which says New Jam, and then a new jam would get created. It might take a while. So this is my jam. Now it is always a good idea to create titles to the Jamboard, because when we go on to create many jams, it would become difficult for us to find, and if we have given it a name, it is easy for us to remember and find it out later for future reference. So say I'm planning to work on something called PLC for myself, and 4Ps. So this is the topic that I'm planning to take for the students. So this is how I have titled it. So now on left hand corner we can see lot of buttons that are there, like pen, there is a eraser, there is a arrow button, there is a sticky note. This is a very wonderful tool that can be used by us. We can add images, we can create circles, we can add a text box. This is again a very good tool that can be used. And then we even have a laser point. Now here in the top panel you can see a title that is set background. So when you click on this, there are different background options that are available. I hope you will be able to see the changes. So any of them that can be selected by us while we are in the classroom. Suppose say I go on to select this particular background. The next tab that we see is for clear frame. That is like once we have loaded a lot of information on the Jamboard and we want everything to be cleared at once. So at that point of time we can clear this frame. This will not be applicable as of now because we don't have any content on our Jamboard. So now let us look at when this Jamboard can be used and how it can be used. So as I have titled my Jamboard as PLC and 4Ps, I can create sticky notes and there are multiple color options that are available. So say I talk to them that the first topic that I'm going to cover is 4Ps of marketing. The second topic I'll talk about scope of marketing. We can even change the colors if we wish to. We'll talk about PLC. We will talk about PLC strategies and so on. Okay, so these are 4 sticky notes. That's the 4 topics that I'm planning to cover in my session today. So this can be done in the classroom in front of students, and the benefit of doing this is like it becomes more interactive and interesting plus colorful, so it attracts the eyeball of the students. So I have arranged my sticky notes. Now suppose I want to write something about 4Ps of marketing. So here I have lot of options, like I have a pen, I have a marker, I have a highlighter, I have a brush, and I have 4 colors to choose from. So I can use any of them. So I'll just show you how it looks like. So say 4Ps of marketing. So I hope you can see this arrow. So we can write something, but then when we are writing something with a mouse, obviously our handwriting is not going to be much clear. So what can be done is, so I'm using this eraser option to show you how it works. So this is how we use the eraser option. So what can be done at this point of time is you can insert a text box. So we can insert a text box and talk about what does it include: product, price, place, promotion. So here the benefit is like your handwriting doesn't get spoiled, which might happen if you're using a pen. Now in order to, if I suppose I want to add some image, so that is also possible. You can go to this image, add image button, and there are plethora of options that have been given by them. The best of them is Google image search, so we can click on that. So you can upload folder from some URL, from your own camera, from your Google Drive, or even your Google phone. So I say I want 4Ps of marketing. So here I would get all the images that are available that can be used by me, and then I can select one of them. So suppose I go on to select this and I say insert. So now besides this 4Ps of marketing, I've written something. I can add this image, I can expand this image, and then if I want to explain something from this, I can use this laser option. It is product, price, place, promotion. There is congruent 4 C's which we should consider while we are preparing marketing strategy and so on. And then we can even add image for PLC, product life cycle. So I can get image and I say insert. So I have a new image now here. So as you can see, I have added 2 topics, 4Ps as well as PLC. Now suppose I want to remove all of them from this Jamboard because I want to explain something else. So I can press on clear flame and everything gets vanished. So because I don't want to do it, I have pressed Ctrl Z. Now because this jam is fill, right? Now we don't have any space. we can go on to create new jam by pressing this icon which says create frame. So when I add this, a new jam gets created. Again, I can set a new background for myself. I can go on to add sticky notes, press enter. So something like this can be done at our end. This is also a good tool when we want to play some game, some group activity in our class. This can be done by us, this can be used by us, so something of this sort. So now we have two jams that have been created. So I have already to explain you what pen is, what is this eraser, arrow option. This converts your pointer into an arrow. Sticky note is a very good tool that can be used by us. We can add images, we can have circles. If you want to add something, you can order it, you can duplicate it. So some diagrammatic representation you want to create in the classroom, so that can be done by you using this particular option. We can add text box, which is very good tool if you don't want to use pen, because your handwriting might not be very clear when you are using a mouse. But then if you have a device that can be attached to your system, and then writing with a pen would become very very clear, and that can be used for some calculative subjects. So that's also a very good option. And the laser is like when you want to highlight something but you don't want it to create linings on your diagrams. It is this eraser, this laser that can be used. So we have two jams now. So now this tool is very very good to be used in a classroom wherein you don't have a PPT, you want to explain some topic and you want students to be attentive towards some important aspect. So you can go to the class, simply open your Gmail account, click on Jamboard, and jams can be created. Now why is this beneficial, or maybe how is it good to be used in classes? Like when we write something on a blackboard, we have to erase the blackboard and nothing stays with the student until unless they have written some notes. Jamboard gives you an option to share your jam with your students. You can add their email IDs, or you can simply copy the link, and this link can be pasted onto your LMS if you have any, or any software that you're using, or maybe your WhatsApp group, and people would be able to see your jam. If you don't want to share your jam with them, you can actually even download this jam as image or as PDF. So suppose say I download it as PDF. So this is the best part of using Google Jamboard, that whatsoever you've discussed, you can save it in form of a PDF. So you can see both the jams are here, and then simply share this PDF, attach it as an email, put it as an email attachment, or keep it on a LMS, and your students would have an access to the discussion that have happened in the class, which may not be possible if you're using a green board or a whiteboard in the classroom. Similarly, you can save this as image also. So this is for the first jam that I've created. So see, saving this is possible. You go to the another jam and you say save frame as image, and again this also gets saved as image. So this is how Jamboard works. More we explore, more we would be able to learn about this device. And when we go back to our drive, I'll show you again. And when I say Jamboard, you would be able to see this jam, which is titled as PLC and 4Ps, the date on which it was created. So this way you will be able to sort your things in a very beautiful way on your Google Drive, and it would be available for you to access at any given point of time. Insert Learning is the next tool. So we simply have to type in our Google panel Insert Learning, and this is how it would look like. When you click on Insert Learning, this is the page that opens up. It is very much important to add it to Chrome, and when we add it to Chrome, if you can see, there is a purple icon that is there. It's an extension of Insert Learning, which is very important for us to work with this tool. So please add it to your Chrome, and then we have to log in. It's a free accessible web page, so you have to log into it, and then this is how it will appear. So I've already logged on to Insert Learning. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to add it to our Chrome bar. We have to create an account in Insert Learning, and this is how the Insert Learning panel looks. Now what is this Insert Learning all about? There are many a times that we share news articles which are available online, and we give it to the students to read them, right? But then it might become very boring for them to read those articles until and unless there is some X factor that has been created onto those pages. Insert Learning does that for us. So if you can see this particular page, this is completely empty for me as of now, and it says let's create a lesson in 3 steps. So this is how we can do. So basically Insert Learning is a tool which helps you convert your online web page into a lesson for your kids, which can be shared by you to your kids. They can answer onto it, they can read the important points, they can see the major highlights that you have done, and they would be able to remember it comparatively more as compared to simply sharing a online link to them. So what you have to do is you have to select a web page. We can add questions to that web page and simply send lessons to your class. So the first thing that we'll have to do is we have to create a class. So here you can see the tab lesson, wherein I'll be creating my new lesson, which I'll show you. Whatsoever is the lesson that has been given, we can grade our students here. But before that, we have to create a class. We have a domain of public library, wherein a lot of Insert Learning web pages in different areas are available. So you can see public library, which is available on different web pages and for which grade it has been done, and then there are resources. But we would be working on creating the classes. So let us move on to create the class. So when I simply put on creating the class, I've already created 2 classes here, like MK219 and MK303. So they are my subjects. So what to do is press on this new class. You can say create a class. If you already have a Google Classroom, you can directly import from them. If you don't have, don't worry, we can create something of our own, for example MG212, and you just simply say create. Now as you can see, there are no students added on to here, but then there is one teacher here who is me. We can even add co-teacher. So this much setup is sufficient to start with Insert Learning. Now what I have to do according to this is I have to select a web page, so which I have already done to make it quite quick. So this is a web page which I want to share with my students so that they are able to read it and understand some branding lessons from what Wow Skin Science is doing. So now I have to simply press on this extension of IL, that is Insert Learning, and when I do so, you would see a message loading, and then there is a purple tab that gets popped up onto the left hand side. Now here the first tab is for assigning, that is you want to assign the lesson to the kids, which we'll be doing later. You can highlight some text. Now what is the meaning of highlighter? So this is the data that I wanted to share with them. So suppose I want to highlight a paragraph. I want to highlight this paragraph. So you can see there is an highlight that has been done. If I want to add some sticky notes, some information here, I can do that, and I say please read this carefully, right? Somewhere if you want, you can add questions. For example, I want to add something: who is the target audience, something like that. So until unless they have read it, they won't be able to answer this, and you can assign some points over here, right? And I say create. So the question would be visible to the students, that's who is the target audience. You can even turn this into multiple choice questions when you can give certain options that are available, so that can be explored. So we have seen how we can highlight, you can add sticky note, we can add question, we can even insert discussion forum over here like this. Why do you think customers would love it? Something like that. Here people can discuss on the forum. So there's a lot to do. Again, I can go on to highlight something, I can add a sticky note. How were they confident? Something like that. So this can be done, and so on. Now once I'm done with all of them, if I press on more button, it will ask me what do I intend to do with this. So I say I want to assign to students, I want to share it with my teacher, I want to view that how it would look to the students. So let's go on to click this view as student. So now you can see here you're viewing this lesson as a student. So as a student, this is how it would be visible to them. Please read this carefully. So basically what has happened is an online platform has got converted into something. So young audience. So see, whatsoever I wrote as a student has got saved. It says saved, right? So this is just hello, and that gets saved, show to all class, and so on, right? So student would be able to see only these three things, what is setting and so on, and then I say resume as teacher because I want to see how it is. So when I go on to this option, I can assign this to student, I can share with my fellow colleague teachers, I can edit it further, I can print this, and I can go back to my dashboard of insert learning. So now I want to assign to students. So now it will ask me which class, because I've created so many classes. So now you can directly add it to Google Classroom. You can even add it to your Microsoft Teams, which is a very good feature if you have any. But then you have to select that this is meant for which course. So say it's because it's for branding and it is titled as MK219, I assign it to it. I say assign. Now when I go to insert learning dashboard, so if you remember, now you can see this is the lesson that I created. If I go to my class MK219, I see one lesson and teacher, and I can go to lesson, I can go here and I can say assign, and I can get the link copied to clipboard. Now once this link is copied to clipboard, what I can do is I can go on to share this link on any of the platform. For example, I want to do it in my Gmail account, so I can just press this and I can share with my students. We can click share it on WhatsApp group, we can share it on any of the LMS portals that we have, and students would be able to see all the things that we have highlighted with all the queries, with all the questions and so on. And once they are done with it, we would be able to see it in class, we will be able to see how many students have actually responded to it, and then when we click on students, we will be able to see the names of all the students. So by doing this in classroom, we can increase a lot of interaction and a lot of collaboration. This is one of the very lovely and interesting tools wherein we don't have to have our login account. We just have to type classroom screen on our Google tab, and this is how the panel will open up. When we have to click on this link, and when we click on this link, it says launch now. So this is something which we can actually go to the classroom, just type classroomscreen.com and launch in the classroom, and this is how it looks. So now there are lot many features into this classroom screen, and they are very much apt tool when we have to do some activity, when we have to make students work in group, we have to ask them to do some collaboration. This is a tool that should be used instantly in the classroom. Even without preparation, we are good to go with this particular application, and that is what I actually love about it. So now there are lot many icons that you can see at the bottom panel. So first, talking about the background, so there are plethora of options which are available. We can go on to select any of them that we like, and our background would get changed. So for example, I would like to go with this balloons, and there is a new background that has created. So that is what is background. That's quite optional. I would talk about the basic features and then move on to the other icon. Now I would like to talk about the last tab, that's calendar. So when you have this on the screen, the date and everything would be visible to the students in the class, which might not be required. Clock, you would be able to see the time. Stopwatch is a very important function that can be used by us in the classroom. Suppose say I am planning to engage into a group activity wherein I have 4 students and I am going to give them some timer. So I can have 4 stopwatch at a given point of time like this, and then I can go on to start the timer to see that what has been done by them at what point of time. Okay, so stopwatch can be used by us if we plan to play some game in the classroom, or maybe we want to make them do some activity. There is something for timer. Suppose say we are giving some timing to our student, and we are giving them some activity. This can be individual, it can be group, it can be collaborative activity. What we can do is we can try to change, say 10 minutes we have given here we have given 15 minutes to do the activity, and we can just go on to start the timer, and then we can even add music if we wish to. I'm just going to talk about the basic feature, and it is actually on the faculty to decide that how they want to utilize all these tabs. It's not necessary to use all these icons at a given point of time. We can plan our lectures, and accordingly the tools can be used. So it even gives us the option of timer. The second option is of traffic light, which is quite interesting because it gives a very colorful representation of what you want the students to do. For example, you are assigning some task to people, and then you say start, so that's a green light. If you want to tell them that they have to pause, you have to give some instruction, you can tell have this another color, that's yellow or orange, and when time is over you can have this red button. So that's how you can use traffic symbol. Now work symbols are also there, and this is very interesting. Suppose you have asked students to do something, so there is a teaching methodology which is TPS, that is teach, pair, share. So if you're doing something of that sort, so then these items, these things can be used by you, that you want students to maintain silence at that given point of time. You want students to talk to each other but slowly. You want them to talk to their neighbors, ask and discuss. You want everybody to collaborate together. So what can be done is, like, instead of telling and yelling at them, these icons can be used in the classroom environment to make it more interesting for them as well as you to look about. So these are work symbols that can be used by us in the classroom. If we have discussed something very important in the classroom out of the activity, and then you want to take down those notes for your students, or maybe we want to recall, so you can just recall what we discussed today, and then you can go on to number them one by one. You can even go on to draw something if you wish to, and there are a lot of color options that are available, so it acts as a whiteboard. Then you can generate QR code, so you just have to go on to type the web link. A QR code gets generated, and if students scan this QR code, they'll be directly able to go on to that particular website. So this might not be a feature which might be much useful for us at given point of time, especially in classroom. Now this media, this is also a very interesting feature. So suppose say I want to add something from YouTube. So usually what we do is we go on to YouTube, we open, we type, and then we get. Rather, what can be done here is we can have our YouTube URL ready somewhere. Just copy paste that URL here, and that particular video, only that video gets embedded over here. For example, I say advertisement of Amul. Say I want to see advertisement of Amul, and I want to find out some video, and this is one of the first web pages that's opening. So what I'll do is I'll just take this link, go to my screen, press here, and I'll press this button, and the video has got embedded onto my screen. So the benefit is like student don't get to see all other things. You just have to keep the links ready and you will be able to embed it them. Other than YouTube link, you can also embed it some image of your choice, and you can embed it Google slide also here, and many other options as such. So YouTube is one of those things which I really like, because being a marketing faculty, we use um, various videos, so that can be quickly done through this platform. Then suppose we are planning to have some game, and there are my students have got distributed into 10 groups, and I have to select one group. So if I say group 1 please come, so they might be like, we are always been called because we are group 1. So instead of doing that, we can use these dice. So this makes things more interesting. So things are same, but it is just how can we make it more interesting. So we have this option of dice. Now this random names is something which I really love. Suppose say you have completed your discussion and then you're left with some time, and then you want to ask questions to your students. Here in this panel, up to 100 names can be inserted. So just to show you, say I am taking few names from this list that I have, and I paste it here, right? And then I have all my student list, and then whatsoever names would be generated here, that would get selected. So I would just press on the button choose. When I do so, one of the names would get visible. So this is the girl who has to answer for the question that I've raised. Again, I can go on to select choose, a new name would come up. Again, I can go on to, so this particular thing that students would say that we are being called again and again, that won't happen because of this device. So it's really interesting way of presenting things to students. Even they would stay focused because they don't know when they are going to be called. Background I already explained. So these are the key features that are available on the screen. Now there are two more interesting things that can be done using this particular web page. When you go on to press this home, you see add screen. This is the screen which I already showed you. You can add a poll and you can add a group maker. So first let's talk about adding a group maker. You have to click on this button and you say open. When you do so, it will ask you for the list of students. Again, I'll be copy pasting my list which has 63 students. I say next. Now it will ask me how many groups do I want to create. If I say I want to create 12, say 15 groups, so it says it would have 5 students each. I say okay, and I say create group. Randomly students are going to get allocated to different groups, right? And then we can ask these people to sit together and work on any of the activities, or maybe engage into whatever discussion we want to. So this is also a very interesting way of randomly selecting the students and making them work with different students, because when we ask them to get into groups, what they usually do is they go on to sit with only those people whom they are friendly with. But by using these type of options, it becomes compulsory for them to interact with others also. Because this is a free version, much of more of things cannot be done with this. We can just convert it into full screen and show them their groups, ask them to sit in those groups, and then probably we can go on to open our screen and then use the buttons, like we ask them to talk to each other or maybe collaborate and so on. So groups can be created and then rest of it can be done on the first screen. Again, going back to home, so I showed you add screen, the main screen which I showed you. I talked about adding the group maker. Now let me talk about adding a poll. Now when you open a poll, it is like, how did you like, you can ask some questions, like it could be like a feedback for the session that has been conducted. It can be in form of smiley, multiple choice, true and false. Suppose I go on to select smiley. So what do you think about the session? You can add your own thing and you say ready. But then the problem with this particular free link is that student would have to come to your system and then one by one click on the emojis of their choice. If you are having the pro version, you can even get it done remotely, which is not feasible. So these are the three options, that is, you can have a screen, you can get polls done, and you can even make a group. And you don't need an account for this. Simply go to the classroom, get this link, and you are ready to go. Mentimeter. So to start Mentimeter, we have to type Mentimeter on our Google tab, and this is how it would look. So it is titled as Mentimeter Interactive Presentation Software. So when we click on this link, this is the window that opens, and we have to go on to log on, or we have to sign up to our Mentimeter account. Now because I'm already having my account, this is how my dashboard of Mentimeter looks. Again, it is a free web page to use, but the only problem is that we would be only able to create 2 slides, and if we want to create more of the slides, we will have to upgrade to their premium account. So now, as the title of this particular screen was saying, it is an interactive presentation software. So how it works is like you would be creating your presentation, we would be sharing that presentation to our students, and whatsoever they answer for that presentation, that would be visible onto our projectors. So let us start with creating a presentation. So you can see these many presentations I've created in my account. And for example, if you look at this first title which says Amazon Go, for this there were 2 slides because it is a free account, and there are 38 students, 38 voices means 38 students who were participating in this presentation. So we have to create a new presentation. We have to click on new presentation. So first thing it will ask us is the name. So suppose I want to talk about PLC, okay, and I say create presentation. So when I do so, a blank template would appear. So now it, in this particular dashboard, it says slide type. So when I click on this, there are many options that I get. I want a multiple choice question, like I am asking a multiple choice question. I want to ask a word cloud. It is an open-ended question. Is it a scale question, rank question? It is just I'm asking some opinion and so on. So we can select any of the question types that we wish to go for. Now suppose say I want to create an open-ended question. So now, based on the slide type that I have selected, there are 2 things that are coming: content and customize. In content slide, it will ask me what is my question. So if I say what is the full form of PLC, so this is the question that I want to ask. If you want, you can add some image. So if I click on this image, it will ask me to upload. I can get it from some library, and if I say PLC, I say marketing, because it's from the domain of marketing. Let's try to get something easy. So I select this, and you can edit it as you wish to. Edit it a bit. I say save. It will get saved, and then it will get reflected onto my slide, and now you can see there is an image that has got added onto my slide. Okay, so this is how image feature can be laid out. How do you want results? You want it in speech bubble format. So you can see that there is a change that is happening into my PPT. You want the answers one by one. You want a flowing grid. So these are the 3 options of layout that you want. So suppose I say I want speech bubble. So then I select it. Let participants submit multiple times, yes, no. So you can put it, this is an extra selection. You want only one response or you want multiple responses. So you can go on to select things about your content. Now talking about customization is like, how do you want the slide setting to be? You want this image to be chosen, you want instruction bar, you want results. So you can go on to see how you want to do all those things. Now On the top panel you can see something called themes. So when you click on themes, there are some themes which are already available stored in this. You can select any of them. Suppose I go with this precious pink and I go back to my slide. So I go back to my so I'll go back to my slide. So I had selected this pink template and you can see everything has got converted into pink color. So now my the first slide is ready. Now I want to add the second slide. Now as I told you, because it is a free tool, only 2 slides can be added by us at this given point of time. You can go for a multiple choice question, and then if there are any options that you want to add, PLC is a tool for and whatsoever. So marketing, finance, production. So I'm just adding few things. You can add more options if you wish to, HRM and so on. And again your second question is ready. So now if I go on to add my third slide, it will not allow me because I have reached my maximum limit of questions. I'd put a cancel. So this is how my presentation has been created. So once I'm done with my presentation, I have to go on to share it, right? I want to share it so that my students can answer this question. What can be done is, like, we can create our PPTs, keep it ready, go to the class, open our Mentimeter account and simply click on this tab which says present. So when you click on this tab, you can tell your students to use the mobile phones, and this should be done at the end of the class. Once you are done, you can ask 2 major questions, key takeaways that you want to share with your students. Ask them to log on to www.mentimeter.com, ask them to put this particular code, and the same screen would be visible to them and they can go on to answer it. Once they're done with this, after, like, you can give maybe 5 minutes or 10 minutes depending upon the type of question that you have asked, you can move the screen and the second question would be visible to you. Now here you can see an symbol of a person. This shows the number of people who are there on your screen, or maybe who are on this particular tool. As of now, there is no student who has actually been shared with this particular link. That's why it is showing as 0. So this is how Mentimeter can be shared with the student. So you can simply go to the class, open your Mentimeter account and present it to the students, or you can click on this button share which says participation. You can just copy the link, you can share this link with your students in your classroom, and then once you are done with your subject, you can ask them to log on to that, click on that link, log on to Mentimeter and answer the question. So it becomes very interesting because you will be able to understand what they have, what are the key takeaways they have had from your session. Once this entire exercise is done, I would show you how the results look like. So for example, I'll go on to my previous PPT that was created, which is titled as Amazon Go, which had 38 voices. If I click on this, once that entire exercise is done, so now you can see here a panel has opened up. Do you want to use the presentation again? So you can use it again and again by resetting the results. So it is that only once you have to create few questions, 2 questions for the lectures, and lecture wise you can allocate these codes or numbers to the students, and it would become interesting for them to see that how has their understanding been. If the insights are very good, then what you can do is you can download the results, which gets downloaded in form of a PDF. So we go to download PDF here, the PDF gets downloaded, and that PDF can be shared by students if you wish to. So you can see I had asked one question, advantages for Amazon, and these are the answers and opinions that were shared by people. So it is almost 6 pages because there were many students who were involved into this discussion. So you can get this entire results like this. You can download it. If they are very much useful, you can share it with your students and ask them to refer back to what has been done. So this is about Mentimeter, which can be a tool that can be used at the end of your classrooms to The next we have with us is Canva. Again, a tool that can aid all the designing requirements. So we have to write Canva on our Google browser, and when we write Canva, we get this first pop-up window which says free designing tool. When we click on this window, this is the screen that comes up. I already have my account, and that's why this window has popped up. So now Canva basically is a designing tool and can be used in multiple ways. So what I usually do is, like, I create presentations on Google Slide. I take up templates from Canva and try to integrate both of them to give better results, and to make it more innovative and feature friendly. So if you look at templates, there are panels of social media templates, personal, business, marketing, education, and many more. So we, because right now I'm focusing on education and we are talking about teaching aids that can help us in the classroom, it can be presentations, right? Now when you go on to this education, they have classroom kits, lesson plans, worksheets, certificates, bookmarks, class schedule, and so on. You can go on to explore these features also. So I'm just going to talk about presentations today. So you can deep dive into this Canva. It is a free account that can be created, and with free account also they have lots and lots of options. So when I clicked on presentation, I here have a lot of templates like brainstorm templates, simple templates, business templates, and so on. So when I clicked on simple presentation templates, there is 2017 templates that have come up, right? So I can use any of them to begin with. So I have selected this one particular template to make it quite easy for us. So this is the template that I have selected. So this is a timeline template that I have selected because I wanted to write session objective for our own session. So this was a ready-made template. I have just edited the text into it, and I'm ready to go. So how to do it? So you have to go to your template. You can go on to select any template of your choice. For example, say I go on to select this. When I click here, it says customize this template. I'll click on customizing the template, and this is how the panel will appear. So I'll just close this window as of now to make it more clear. So the basic functionalities and features are there on this left hand corner, which says template, which is what I showed you right now. There is something called elements, which helps you add elements to your tab. For example, if I want to add this tick mark, so I can just click, and it gets inserted into my template, as you can see. So there are many options that are available, and we can select any of the one that we want. We can resize them and make it innovative for the classroom depending upon the subjects that we are teaching. So this was about elements. Now suppose say you don't want to select from any of the elements which are available, rather you want to upload something from your desk. So then you can go on to select on upload media. It will give you a lot of options. You can select the media, and that would get represented over here. We can even add text box. Now what do we mean by text boxes? Because we are talking about presentation, we might be needing to add some content onto it. So I can add pages. Now this is a blank template, right? So I can add a heading. So this is where my heading gets added. So I say this is introduction class, right? You can rearrange this to suit your requirements, right? I want to add subheading, and then I can go on to add the subheading of my choice. I say name, education, then income, something of that sort. So you can talk about whatsoever you want to name it. We can have one more small box. So these are different alignments that are available. We need to work on them individually and see how do we want. We even have many other interesting ways of writing something. For example, this one, so it says sales online. So we can edit, they are completely editable, so it can be time for activity. So something of that sort. You can select this, go on to this to reduce the size so that it fits into your screen. So obviously it needs some time, but then something like this can be done. There are a lot many options which are available for free. We can even go on to add photos. We can upload our photos and use them. We can even add some music if we wish to, and we can even change the background. Like, see, the background has changed, right? Right. And many characters, bitmojis, and so on. So there is lot much to explore on this left hand tab. I won't be explaining all of them to you because it actually depends upon the requirement of the faculty that what they would be wanting to use. So this is how it can be done. So now suppose this is my final template and I want to get this template onto my desktop. So I have to click on this button, and there are a lot of options, like I want to download it. How do I want to download? And then I want it to be in JPG image, PNG image, PDF format, PDF, MP3, GIF format, and so on. And if you click on this more, you even get the option to save it in PowerPoint formats, and then you just say download. So this is getting downloaded. So you can see here it's getting downloaded. So when I open this, I would be able to see my same template on my PowerPoint slide. See, have a look. Right, so all those options are to be seen by us individually, so I don't have time to get into all of them. But then what can be done best is, like, we should, what I have felt over this duration is, by collaborating and mixing 2 or 3 different platforms, you are able to create a lot of differentiation. For example, the slide that I'm presenting today is created completely on Google Slides, but then these templates, the matrix, it is created on Canva. This is created on Canva. So they are all elements which I have added individually to create them. Similarly, the session objective slide, this is created on Canva. So there is a lot of integration that can be done in order to make your contents more visually appealing to students, because that also gives them a lot of interest in the subject that you might be teaching. So how to search them? So whatsoever comes to your mind, what can be done is, you just go to the search button and you write, say I want process chart, and if it is available, they would show it to you. I'll say process because it's there, I do know. So, like, see, there are so many things for process that has been created, so they are available, right? So there are some 13-14 designs that are available. If I say road map, okay, it's actually searching in my project, so that's why that's not available. If I say road map timeline, oh yeah, so a lot many timelines. So see, these are all timeline templates. See, there is something like this, there is this time graph. So you would have seen in one of my PPTs I have used this. So there is something like this. So lot many interesting, appealing things are available, which can be selected from Canva, downloaded, shared. In fact, we can create the SWOT analysis. So there is lot more available in this, but then we need to explore all of them. There is something like a fish bone diagram that's there. There is something like reclaiming wellness. So lot many options, and they are all editable. We need to just customize it, we need to rewrite the contents that we wish to, and then we are good to go. And there are so many options through which we can copy the link, we can download, we can print it, we can share it on various social media platforms. So Canva is a tool which should be explored by all of us more. Now they have even brought a new feature, that is Canva for Educated. Unfortunately, Canva for Education is for all of them who are school teachers, and there are certain documents that needs to be uploaded on that particular portal, but that gives more feature in comparison to what is right now available on this particular portal. So Canva for Education is also something which you please go on to Google, search more about education, and try to explore that particular tool also for your educational requirements. Making presentations is something which we faculties have been doing, and making them interesting is very very important. So one such tool which I guess many of you would be aware about is Google Slides. By using Google Slides, various interesting, beautiful, and innovative PPTs can be created. I'm just sharing glimpse of few PPTs that I have created, just scrolling them to see how good designing can be done using Google Slide. This is another example. So by using Google Slide, there are lot many options that can be explored by us, and they can be used in the classroom to make our communication with the students more interesting and more innovative, because PPTs at the end of the day are one of the tools that have been used maximum by all of us. So how to start doing it? You have to open your Gmail account, click on the app launcher, and connect to Google Drive. You have to press on this button new, and there you would see Google Slide. Even if you press on app launcher, you can see this logo which is for Google Slide. So when you press on this, we don't want a tour, so this is how it pops up. So these are all different presentations that I have created using Google Slide. So either I can go on to click a blank presentation, or I can choose from the template. So you can explore these templates later. So I would like to start with a blank presentation because I want to show you some beautiful features that are there in Google Slide. So the thumb rule remains the same. We have to title our presentation. So for example, if I am again talking about 4 P's of marketing, I would title it, give title Introduction to Marketing. While I wrote Introduction to Marketing, you can see that there is a button, Explore button, that has popped up. So when you click on this Explore, it will show you lot many ways in which you can improve the representation of this particular slide. So if you like any of them, you can select that to be added to your presentation. So we can select any of those slides here, any of them. Now I'll go to File. Suppose that this is the slide that I selected. I add a new slide. So now this new slide is again blank. We can close this down. Now if I say I want to talk about marketing definition, fine, and then I want to add some image related to marketing. So what I can do is I can go to Insert. So I'm just exploring those features which are quite unique to this. Others are something similar to what we use in our PowerPoint slides. So now when you go to Insert Images, there are a lot many options that are available to you, of which there is something called Search the Web. Click Search the Web and you say marketing. So when you say marketing, all the images that are there with reference to marketing would pop up. You can select any of them. Say I go with this image and I say insert. So this image would get inserted in my slide, and then when I click on Explore, I again have lot of options from which I can choose. If I don't want to choose any of them, I can keep it as it is, right? Other than this, if I do a right click, there is an option of Apply Layout, Change Theme. So I go to Apply Layout. You can select any of the layouts of your choice here. and rearrange the image that you have selected. You can keep on checking the explore button if they have some good other customized options available. Otherwise, you can go ahead with what you have selected. So this is one of the features that should be known to us, because it helps us in designing templates which are very high on creativity. So these are all things I have done like this. So all these numbers that you see, 1 2, so all of them, what I did was I went to insert, I went to images, I searched them on web. From there I have just inserted, and then the PowerPoint gives me an option to explore more features. So this is one thing that's very interesting. Similarly, a lot of diagrams can be added which are not there in the normal PowerPoints that we use. For example, if you can see a timeline which I had shared somewhere here and here, so all of them were created using these charts. So there are timeline, there are grid formations, there are hierarchy formation, there is timeline, there is a process. So these are all options that are available which are not available in the normal PowerPoint slides. So image, you can insert diagram, you can add word art, you can add videos into it. Again, when you go on to add video, you can directly go on to YouTube, select the video of your choice, say advertisement of Amul, and it will show us some of them, and say if I select this and I say select, so it would embed that video into my PPT. So which has to be done manually when we go on to do them in the normal PowerPoint presentation. So that need not be done, and from here we can play it directly. So now when you are doing something in Google Slide, what happens is you just have to go to your classroom, open your Gmail account, and then simply press on slideshow, and it gets opened. So like what I'm doing right now. You can also have the option to go to file, and you can download it in multiple formats. Like it can be in PDF format, it can be JPEG, it can be PowerPoint itself. So you should create Google Slides rather creating the PowerPoint presentations, because it has a lot more features and functionality in comparison to the normal PowerPoints that we create. Other benefit of using Google Slide is like it can be shared. So collaboration is possible. You can share with single people, you can just copy the link, share the link with the other person with whom you would want to collaborate on the PPT. So if there are any group work or tasks that is to be done, this tool can be used greatly. All other features are similar to what we do for the normal PowerPoint, so I'm not exploring them for you. But then this insert feature of Google Slide is very interesting. Plus you can even collaborate, you can comment with the people with whom you have collaborated, which is not possible in the normal PowerPoint presentations that we make offline. So we should use this because it makes us more creative in terms of the contents that we deliver in the class. So now that we are done with all the 6 digital tools, I would really urge all of you to ensure that we use all these tools, we try these tools at our end, because it is practice that makes the man perfect. It would take some time for us to become experts in these tools, but it is something which can be done to make classrooms more engaging and realistic for our students. So then this brings me to my third and the last objective, which is a proposed matrix. So this is just on the basis of the experiences that I have had while using these methods that I have shared right now. So what I've done is I've tried to create a matrix which is a combination of the various methods that I had listed discussed to you in the first objective, with the various tools that I have discussed as a part of digital tools in objective 2. So if suppose we are going on with lecture method, and now here by lecture I mean the verbal conversation that we are having with our students. So in that case, maybe we can go ahead with the discussion, and then support that particular lecture with 2 slides of Mentimeter. We can open a class room screen, create groups, ask them questions, and try to engage them into the classroom. If we go with presentation, obviously Google Slides and Canva, they are the platforms that can be used in order to create beautiful, innovative, designer and artistic presentations. So this while saying so, I would like to bring to your notice that this particular slide that you see, it has been created on Canva, so that can be done. And then you can, at the end of the class, you can ask questions using Mentimeter, or maybe a classroom screen can be created. If you're going with a video based lecture, like you are trying to show them some videos, so obviously those links can be embedded on Google Slide. You can use Jamboard. When you go on to, like, after showing the video, you can go on to discuss them and take up sticky notes on Jamboard, put up perspectives that students are having. You can collaborate that Jamboard with students and let them work on that Jamboard and then check them later. You can use Mentimeter, or classroom screen is a multi-purpose tool. Actually, I felt it can be used at any given point of time. If you're having some online database, some link or an article, so the best tool that you can use in order to make it more interactive is, like, on Google Slide, you embed that insert learning outcome. Like you can assign that to a particular class, get that link, embed on Google Slide, share that slide to your students. You can ask queries using Mentimeter. Classroom screen goes compulsorily for all of the tools. If you're planning to use a case study method, so you can design your own solutions and put it on Google Slides or Canva. You can use Jamboard, Mentimeter, as well as classroom screen for case study also. So for case study, what usually happens is, like, we go with the case study, students rarely come reading those case studies. So what can be done is, like, while we interact with them, divide them into groups, ask them to read the case study, come up with solutions, create groups randomly rather than giving them an opportunity to select their own groups. Give them separate jams and ask them to create. So something like that has to be planned in advance. So something of that sort can be done with case studies to ensure that case studies are well read by the students. We can, if we are using role play as a method, so time limits can be given to them for which classroom screen can be used. If suppose we are dividing the role play among two groups, they are doing role play, and then to evaluate other students, or maybe to understand how much they have understood, maybe Mentimeter can be used, wherein poll questions can be created for by you to ask them that which group was better. So something of that sort can be. So we would have to think of various ways in which we would want to be innovative in the classroom. And that is why, if you remember, there was a prerequisite that I had added which said understanding and planning for digital tools. So that becomes very, very essential. For group activities, almost all of these tools are viable options. The reason being, all of them has an option to collaborate with different people. And if you are having games in the classroom, again, all of them can be used. It depends on which game you want to play and which of the tools can be used. Having said that, while I'm showing you this matrix, it is not necessary that you are going to go by the same thing, because as I said in the beginning, it depends upon what is the subject you are teaching, how are you teaching, who are your students, what's the level. So based on that, few of the tools should be plugged in, not all of them, otherwise it would become lot much time consuming, and then you would not get time to convey and deal with the contents which actually you want to deal. So you can select few of them and plugging in into few of the topics, maybe important topics in the syllabus, or maybe interesting topics of your syllabus, rather than going along with these tools on all the topics, because then it would again become redundant for them also. So we should not do it for everything that we teach in the classroom. So this brings an end to the session today. I hope there were some key takeaways from this session. I'm very much thankful to all of you for having given me an opportunity to share my experiences. So let us serve the contents in an innovative way to ensure that our students imbibe these contents in a way which interests them and create more engagement in the class. Thank you very much, and see you sometime in some offline lectures. Thank you.